Hey guys, it's Kobi McCoull and welcome back to another episode of Tuesday Tunes. Now in this episode, things are a little different because it's my birthday. And to celebrate, I just decided to make an R&B trap hip hop beat. Kind of the same as I always would, but I just wanted to let it go wherever it wanted to go. No tests or challenges or crazy experiments or anything, purely just the fun of making a beat. And now I just want to dive straight in to break it down. Now I say it's my birthday, but the day that I filmed this was actually a few days before because right now I'm probably in the middle of nowhere, up a hill or in a loch somewhere in Scotland with my family, all going to plan anyway.
Yo, I'm up the top of a crazy high mountain with my family. We've been mountain biking. What happened, Dad?
They had T-bars and a chairlift.
Right.
And bitch you had to walk across and all that.
Yeah.
And then they invested millions building this funicular railway.
Millions.
And they put concrete foundations in.
Yeah.
And then,
He's talking about the museum that's up there. We're at the top of Cairngorms right now, and there's a big ski hill that goes all the way up there. And then we went up on Monroe yesterday, which is up the top of the mountain there. And then down there is Loch Morlech, and we were staying over in the hills over there.
But yeah, without further ado, let's just jump straight into the beat breakdown. So what I did in order to try and find a groove that I was really happy with is I put the beat together in its entirety over here, and then I exported that beat and then created an automation clip with the tempo up here so I could play around with the tempo overall and find one that fitted best with the vocal style and everything that I ended up with. And I'll show you the end result once I'd exported it, but I'll break down first the original idea with the original tempo, which was 114. So I started off just with some simple but bold drums. And that was it, just basic kick, snare and hat pattern. Then to match with it, I just found a heavy 808. Again, keeping it super simple, but really powerful and bold. The next element that I added was the piano down here, and I had to be really careful not to overcrowd this with melodic elements. I still wanted a melodic feel, but I also wanted to keep it really simple so that vocals and other melodic ideas would have space on top of it. So I did that by sending the piano through an effects channel to wash it out with some more reverb and just kept the chords as they were. I didn't add little melody licks in between, I just had the chords. But as you'll see within the MIDI, in order just to make it feel slightly more human and have a bit more groove, they aren't perfectly quantized, they all have a slight different lick as if it was actually being played, because that's how I originally came up with it. So that is what I did originally, but I just had to make sure that I didn't do too much. As tempting as it was, I just wanted to keep it pretty simple. So there is a melody in the top line, but overall the root chords just sit underneath everything, and you can see that that's what happens in the pattern. And by having that strong chord pattern, that is actually what generated one of my favorite parts of this whole beat, where it stutters at the last part and the last part of the bar. And so I cut the drums up as well to go with that, and then ended up cutting up all the other instruments to go with it too. And then that also shaped the vocal. So by playing around with it that much, it really gave character to that aspect. Then I also added in a gross beat slide, so at the end of each bit, it would slide down like that, just to emphasize even more that it's like ramming you into the beat that's about to come. And that just makes it hit that much harder. And then I also added in the gross stutter to the piano, so that not only was the piano stuttering like that with the chords, but the reverb and everything else was coming off too. That's what gives it the emphasis. Because if I play it without this stutter, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just doesn't carry the same emphasized energy. And I love what that does to the overall beat. Then I added in some vinyl just to fill out the ambient textures a little bit more. But nothing special with that. Then the next element that I added in to add even more rhythmic texture and quality to it was a little rhythmic guitar. And I had one octave down on one side and then the other higher octave on the other side. But I actually also took what I think was, it was almost like a timp hit. It was like a percussive sound that I tied with the guitar to make it more blippy. But it's toned, it's pitched to the same note that the guitar is. And the guitar plays the same note all the way through, apart from right at the very end where it just plays one down. And all that does is creates a bit of space and a bit of difference so that it pulls your ear towards it, then throws you back into the same rhythmic texture. And I love the bounce that that adds to the track overall. Especially that last bit with the stutter and everything coming together and the guitar still blipping the way that it does. And it's amazing how specific you have to be with the shape of the wave file in this respect, because if it's left too long, and you can see here with the guitar that I've cut it, because if it's left too long, or if you play the same note every time, it loses its rhythmic quality, its bounce. And it's amazing how much just shaping the wave file, cutting it, extending it, can completely change the way that the track bounces. So that was really special. Then the last element I added in was this sort of futuristic pad that I just wanted to swell, but not over consume. I just wanted it to swell with it. But I also made it stutter because I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose the emphasis that I had created putting in the stutter with the piano and the other elements previously. And so that was everything I did for the beat. Despite that, something still felt like it wasn't quite right, and I wasn't sure what that was, hence the reason I exported it and decided to play around with the tempo a little bit more. So like I say, the original tempo was 114. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's great, it's got quite a high energy. But what I decided to do was bring the tempo down to 100. Then, with the export that I had, I also pitched the whole track down too. And it was amazing the difference that I found with that.
I don't know what I see, girl, looking back at me. I tried seeing it your way, but guess I'm in too deep.
I was amazed at how significantly different it felt. It just has this much more dark, commanding, powerful energy because of those two subtle changes, slowing it down and pitching it down. And that then shaped the way that I would sing and put the other vocal ideas that I had on it. Now, I didn't come up with anything final. I just wanted to explore and play around with it, and I also didn't have that much time to spend on it before I went off gallivanting in the mountains and rivers and so on for my birthday with my family. So I just recorded in some weird random ideas that I had and was really happy with the way that it was sounding overall. But had I gone with that original tempo, I don't think I would have captured the same energy or dark ambience that it ended up with.
Know what I see, girl, looking back at me. I tried seeing it your way, but guess I'm in too deep.
And one of the really powerful things about having exported the track like that and having it just as a stem there is, one, it's really good for your CPU because your computer can handle playing a WAV file way more than it can play all of your stem instruments at once. But also, it allows you to make some pretty bold decisions about the things that you're going to do with the track. For example, you can just cut it up even more here. It just adds even more boldness to the artistic decisions you make.
I don't know what I see, girl, looking back at me.
And then I also have the automation clip actually just tailing off ever so slightly, so the track just keeps getting slower at the end, and I loved that idea as well. It seemed to be doing really cool things.
In too deep.
And obviously you can just completely play around with this line as well if you want. You could speed it right up.
in too deep.
But I have no intention of doing that to this track this time around anyway. As for the processing, I just processed everything the way that I usually would within my template, and if you haven't checked out the last video, you can actually download a cover that I did using this same template if you want to check out how everything is usually set up within my projects. But doing it like that, it just means I can keep track of everything, and if and when I'd like to turn this into a final song, I can, and it's all organized the way that I would like it to be. And that was that. So I really hope that you enjoyed this beat and this video overall. Maybe you learned something new. Welcome along to the channel if you're new, and thanks to everybody for 200 subscribers. It's been so cool seeing all the support and comments and love over the last couple of weeks, so thank you once again. I really look forward to sharing the next video with you, but until then, bye.